Up until recently, Hisense was the only one of its kind when it comes to e-paper smartphones. There is not one other brand of note that has made these products. However, Bigme has come to the races with an absolute game changer of an e-reader. This is the Bigme HiBreak. And technically speaking, it is not an e-reader, nor is it an e-note, nor is it a tablet. This is a smartphone with an e-paper screen. This unit features a Kaleido 3-color e-paper display with a SIM card slot, which means you can put in a SIM card and use mobile data, internet, hotspot, and of course make phone calls and texts. Outside of that, they have various speed modes, a glow light, and even an e-paper button on the left to utilize some quick key accesses. Enough chit-chat, let's dive in to the HiBreak. Looking at the unit itself, it is a pretty vanilla design. There's not much really going on. There's big bezels on the top and bottom to accommodate the camera and the speaker. Yes, it's a speaker, it's not just an earpiece. You have to be very careful because when you have this up to your ear, if your call volume and your multimedia volume are askew, this could be very painful for your ears if you get a notification while you're on the phone, if your phone's application doesn't have anything to mitigate that. Right around the side would be your microphones right there, and you have your USB-C. On this side, you have an e-ink button which has quick key accesses with single press or long press. You can do different things. We'll show you that in a little bit. You have an SD card slot as well as a SIM card slot. We will show you that as well. Top is clean and the right has the power, volume up and volume down. The back is a very nice black leather-esque design. It is not leather. It is simply plastic, and you have a camera bump with a camera and flash package. Now, how heavy is this phone? Typical smartphone with just a regular AliExpress case is coming in at around 238, and this is coming in at 172, so it is quite a bit lighter than a typical smartphone. It is very lightweight in the hands. It feels really good because it's got that high grip back, and it doesn't leave a lot of fingerprints either. The biggest difference between this and any other mini e-reader is that this is not a tablet, this is not an e-reader. This is a smartphone. And you might say it looks like the Palma. It does, but this is a smartphone. So we have a Fido wireless, which is basically Rogers Wireless. So the same as, say, Verizon down in the States. We're going to put that in right there. We're going to click Use SIM. And when this starts up, you're going to see the reception change, and it's going to say Fido in the top left corner. So what that means is now you can go here, you can dial, you can use mobile data. This is a smartphone for all intents and purposes. It just is not running an LCD, LED, TFT screen, as instead using an e-paper screen. But this is a smartphone. Now you have wireless data, you can still use Wi-Fi, and yes, you can put in international SIM cards. The UI is very nice actually, and I much appreciate, instead of the traditional drop down, they give you this sidebar and you get all these icon based things like you have your flashlight, you have your mobile data, you have your Bluetooth, your Wi-Fi, and your airplane mode. You also have location services on, and yes, you can blast the glow light out to next week or turn it off entirely and save some battery. You do have screenshot, you have Eink Center, we'll get to that in a second, you have screen record, battery, and some cast settings. Eink Center is going to be your be-all end-all. This is where you're gonna go, and this is going to bridge the gap between the people who are hesitant to get into e-paper, much like myself. We still use LCD phones here, we're not kidding anybody. E-paper phones are slower, they're more of a hassle, they're more of a learning curve, so that's why the selection is few and far between. It's literally Hisense and Bigme, and that is it. There is no other players in the game in terms of smartphones. You have different color settings, comic, video, and magazine. You also have anti-shake, we'll show you that when we get into videos, auto clean, which wipes the screen clean of course, and this is the biggest one, refresh mode. This is your refresh modes. You have HD 256, you have Regal, Fast, and Extreme. It goes from best looking down to worst looking, but it also goes from slowest down to fastest. Extreme extreme mode is going to be the one that personally, if I am going to use this phone, I'm just going to leave it on extreme, because it is the closest representation of what it's going to be like to move from an LCD over to e-paper. You have contrast settings. It is system wide as well. You'll see the background is very light. You can make it very dark and bold. Same thing with vivid enhancement, the color enhancement, the color brightness. You can change everything about this as you see fit and get yourself a pretty darn good looking experience. Yes, you do have Google Play on this. Google Play is, personally for me, absolutely required on devices nowadays. It doesn't mean you have to use it. It just gives you the option of having everything. It's either not having Google Play or having Google Play and having every single thing you would ever want. Every calculator, every calendar app, every e-reading app, every single book, everything that has come out. Manga, audiobooks, ebooks, everything. And we'll show you this in a second as well. This also has the capability of playing games and playing high quality video. We'll show you video near the end of the video review, and we will show you some fast-paced moving comparisons between all 4 modes. There's positives and negatives to everything. This is very small for Manga. As you can see here, if you put the phone down, Manga is never that small. This is the size of a credit card. But it is nice because it is handheld. And yes, you can use the volume buttons as page turn buttons. So that's really nice. Now, the reason I use Google Play Books and why I recommend that is because it opens up a lot of different features. For example, if you use the page keys, you'll see that it expands the speech bubbles, and it doesn't just zoom it in. It's a separate rendered element that is keyed out that actually shoots up in front of the bottom layer of the comic book itself, and that'll even go and do the titles. As you can see here, prior to me doing that, it was not keyed out, it's just regular text, and then look what happens. They even give you a little bit of a backdrop. It's a very nice feature, and it goes overlooked, honestly. Manga experience on this unit is very nice. You can do pinch and zoom, and of course, Manga's in black and white, but we'll show you some color content in a little bit. This is the latest possible version of color that any e-paper device has. It is Kaleido 3. There isn't anything past this in terms of a better looking experience, except for Gallery, which, as we know, it's on its way out, and no units currently use Gallery. But Manga is going to be very comfortable on this unit. I also like how there's not much of a drop shadow here between the screen and the top. They have done a very good balancing act while putting this lower than the touch digitizer, the glass protector on top, the matte screen protector, the glow light layer, but still allowing the screen to be quite surface level. There's also a color array filter on this unit as well, which gives you the color as you see here. So job well done when it comes to the stack of EPD and all the other layers involved. In terms of an ebook reader, pretty much any e-paper device can be an ebook reader. Heck, any cell phone can be an ebook reader. Anything with an LCD screen can be one. Now, there is an inherent downside with using color, is that the background is never going to be white. And if you see we use something very white like this, it's drastically different. This almost has more of a gray blue on the color wheel than this does. This is a true white. You could color balance with that. But this one is a little bit gray, and this has to do with the color array filter. But that aside, in terms of the usability, it's perfectly fine. You can even use the page turn keys in the form of volume buttons, so you don't have to touch the screen. You can sit on the bus and you can just go like this. Now, this is going to have the ability to change the size of everything. Now, it is a very thin unit, and it's not very wide like a Paperwhite. If I grab one right here, oh, that's backwards. There you go. So if you see a size comparison between a candy bar phone and a typical ebook reader, it is fairly small, and actually makes the regular Kindle Paperwhite look enormous, but it's not. But this is a multi-purpose device and doesn't just limit itself to being an e-reader, etc. So in terms of the usability, it's only going to be as good as the app. So you can basically make any notes you want. You can check out X-ray if you're on the Kindle, check out your annotations. You can basically do anything that the respective app has. You don't have to use Kindle. You can use Adobe PDF Reader if you want to read PDF ebooks. You can use Google Play Books. It has really anything you want. So if you go to Google Play Books, you have, of course, your Manga, which we already showed you, but this is going to give you everything that is in your Google account. So every sample, every purchase, every download, every subscription is going to be here, and if there's something they don't don't have, you simply go over to the store and you shop around. Shop for ebooks, shop for audiobooks, stuff we've already showed you a bunch of times before, but really just having Google Play on here does open it up to not having to use any one specific app, but Kindle is a very nice, stable application, and you can't really go wrong with it. Every device in our industry, every consumer electronics has pros and cons. And one of the biggest cons of this device is the audio is horrible. They don't have speakers on this unit, even a pleasantry speaker on the bottom or just a single mono cutout. There is nothing. As we said at the top of the hour, everything is sharing at this top speaker pack. Even at full crank, this audio is extremely dim, very quiet, very low quality, very tinny. All you're getting is highs. You're not getting any bass. You're not getting any middles. I would say one of the biggest faults of this unit is very obviously the audio experience. If you guys are unfamiliar with e-paper smartphones, we'll just kind of reiterate because a lot of people swipe through the videos. This is a smartphone. It's the same as any smartphone, but instead of this panel being an LCD LED, it's e-paper. So with that, you get better glare resistance and better battery life, of course. It's easier on the eyes. So let's just look at some things that you would go to on your multimedia smartphone like you would on a regular smartphone. Of course, we showed you Google Play. You also have things like app management. So you go into app management, and that's going to be pretty much everything that you would have on a regular smartphone. We're going to be saying that a lot because a lot of people think there's something kind of black and white, drastically different between this and a regular smartphone. Anything you would get on your unit, like Kindle. You can click on Kindle, you can force stop uninstall, you can open it, you can add permissions, you can turn off and on notifications, etc. You have things like navigation ball that pops up and gives you some quick key accesses, which is kind of nice. I really like that. You have a music application, and you have File Manager. File Manager is going to go through your internal storage, which you get about 103 gigs without anything downloaded, and you can put an SD card on here as well and expand it to the moon and back. You can swipe up to go back one shot. You have Chat GPT, which is quite nice, and as you know, Chat GPT is, well, AI, so you can say basically do anything and it's just going to do it. You say write me an essay, it'll write you an essay. If you go to AI Draw, and earlier I asked it to draw me a picture of some ramen, and you'll see that it just drew me a high quality picture of ramen. So AI basically is just your quick access to making robots do all the things you don't want to do, like your homework and math equations. You also have things like Bookshelf, Gallery, OneNote, and of course, if there's anything you don't have, you simply go to Google Play and download it. If you don't like something that's on here, you can long press it, you can uninstall it. So you can manage it, uninstall it, edit it, move it around, make folders, and basically do anything that you would be able to do on your smartphone. You also get your things at the bottom here, which are your quick keys, and yes, of course, you can make phone calls, and it works as well. This is honestly a game changer. It truly is. Since 2019, there has been only one brand/line of products that fulfilled this need, a smartphone with an e-paper screen. There have been e-ink cell phones like the one from Kyocera and Light Phone, etc., but all of them falling short of being an actual smartphone. The Bigme is hyper-capable in every measurable metric, and outside of not having dedicated speakers for multimedia audio, it is truly perfect, and for that reason it gets a 9 out of 10. This unit with Google Play, an e-paper screen, a glow light, as well as a SIM card slot logistically means that this device can be anything you want it to be. A manga reader, a cell phone, a dictaphone, anything. The world is yours with this unit, and they've left it entirely up to you to choose how to use it.